So you're thinking about possibly selling your property. What do you do next? Well, I think a great next step would be to get together with myself. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams, or any other business partner of mine here at the Price Group. And what we find is a good starting introductory conversation is often the very ticket that you need to get the clarity that you're seeking in order to make the decision you need to make going forward and or discover the strategy that's going to best serve you when you're thinking about selling your home. So what does this conversation look like, and why is it a great reason for us to get together to have it? Well, here's what we'd like to discuss with you. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we understand everything that is going on in your mind as you're thinking about possibly embarking upon the sale of your property. So for example, what is the goal with your sale? Why are you thinking about making a move? Moving is never easy, right? So what's got you thinking about moving? What's your ideal timeline? Both the timeline for when possibly you'd like to be on the market, but most importantly, what's the timeline looking like for when you can imagine having the sale complete, being moved out of your property, and having your net proceeds, that check in hand, ready to deposit into the bank? What's the timeline for that that's ideal for you? What about the process kind of feels unknown or uncertain, or anything that you might have a question about? What are the nuances that are particular to your situation, your family, your needs that we need to be made aware of so we can craft a strategy that serves you? And what are the general questions that you have when you're even thinking about something like possibly selling your property? That's where we want to start. That's what we want to understand. The second part of the conversation as we get together would be us being able to share with you what we do to get the job done for our clients. I've personally been in this business for nearly 2 decades. I've had the honor and privilege of helping many, many, many clients of mine successfully sell their property and get across the finish line. And what we do is not your run-of-the-mill average real estate sell your house plan. We had literal decades of experience under our belt, and we know what it takes to not just get you to the closing table, but to get you to the closing table in the way in which you want to get there, when it looks at the timeline, the profit and the proceeds, the convenience to you, the simplicity to you, and above all else, the service to you. So we'd be happy to share with you what we do to get the job done. We also, when we sit down to have this conversation, a lot of times what you need in order to get the clarity that you desire in terms of, is now the right time to make the move? Should I look down the road at possibly doing this transition and wait in the here and now? Sometimes the very thing that we need to think about in putting all those puzzle pieces together has a lot to do with the financial side of the potential sale of your property. So what we're going to also bring to this conversation is we're going to do thorough market research before we sit down together to have this conversation. What's that going to look like? Well, it's going to look like a couple of things. We are going to come prepared with what in the real estate industry we often call a CMA, which is a shortened way of saying a comparative market analysis. Now, this is a very, very important piece of research for you, because what it does is it looks at the property that you're considering selling, and it looks at the property inside of today's market. And we look at it the same way that an educated buyer would look at it, the same way that an appraiser is likely going to look at it, the same way that a buyer's agent might look at it. We're looking at it from a very data-driven, fact-driven perspective, so that you have clarity on what your potential outcome is in terms of not just a sales price, but a net proceed amount. So we're going to come prepared with that market research, that market analysis, that ultimately is going to answer the question of what your home is likely to sell for in today's market when you put our marketing plan behind it. It's also going to help us understand what your competition is in today's market. It's going to also help us to understand about how long it's likely to take to go from for sale to contract accepted. All of those nuances, often things that you need to know in order to have the clarity you deserve to be confident about the decision you make going forward when it comes to the sale of your property. Now, in addition to that research, which we're calling the comparative market analysis, we're also going to come prepared with what's called a seller net proceed estimate. Ooh, that's a lot of real estate lingo that basically means just this. After getting some answers from you in regards to whether or not you have a payoff on your mortgage or you have any other liens on your property that we need to pay off in order to complete the sale, after we gather that information from you, we're then going to do the math that looks at the financial side of the transaction, taking into consideration what the CMA suggests that your home would sell for in today's market with the price group's marketing plan behind it, and then looking at what you may or may not owe on the property currently, and then factoring in the cost of doing business. We're going to put all of the cost of the sale, all of the payoffs of your current mortgages together against the likely sales price. And we're going to do all the math for you to let you know what your likely net proceed amount is. Now, this is super important because a lot of times the decision on whether you sell now or later or how you time it in conjunction with where you're going next often has to do with, I just have to have a little bit of clarity around what I'm likely to profit on the sale of this house. So we're going to do that math for you. So many times we find for our clients that we're taking the profit of the house that they're selling and reinvesting it into the next house that you're buying. And a lot of times that profit determines what the down payment can be on your next house, which then determines what the price point is on the next house that you're shopping for. Because when you look at the down payment and then you think about the monthly payment budget you want to stay within, we got to have all those mathematical puzzle pieces to put together so that at the end of the day, you can just simply say, hey, price group, can you just let me know what I'd likely make in terms of profit on the sale of this house? And then could you help me understand, if you're choosing to buy after it, can you help me understand what that looks like in terms of the financial scenario of the house that I might set myself up to purchase next? So we will come prepared with all that. We'll do the heavy lifting and we'll give you the clarity of those answers. The other thing that we will come prepared to show and share with you is a little bit different from what is traditionally called a CMA or comparative market analysis. In that, the third piece of the analysis that we will be happy to discuss with you has to do with market trends. You see, one of the things that makes the price group different from almost all of the other real estate agents in town is that we track our local market week over week over week over week. Not month over month, not quarter over quarter, definitely not year over year. You see, our housing market is dynamic. And it is slightly shifting and shaping and doing different things all of the time. And you need a professional in your corner who is guiding you through that process so that you can win the competition that is selling your home for the highest sales price possible in the least amount of time with the most convenience and simplicity to you. The way you get that is to hire the professional that knows the market inside and out. So we track our local market every 7 days. And what that allows us to bring to you is a whole conversation around how the market is trending. We not only know what the market's doing today, which is what the CMA will show us, but we'll also be able to counsel and advise you around where the market's heading, what the trend is, what the pattern is, where we've come from in the housing market often tells us where we're going. When we look at several things, such as average sales price, days on market, absorption rate, all kinds of things that are important in having the correct and best strategy to make certain that you enter the market with a price point that's attractive to the current market and the current buyers, and also ensures that we're not leaving $1 on the table, because your net proceeds, your profit is, we're going to assume, highly important to you. All right. So we're going to kind of tie that in a bow. We're going to be prepared to discuss and answer any questions you might have about the comparative market analysis, what your home would likely sell for in today's market and how long it would take. Also, the seller net proceed estimate. Emily, just shoot me straight and tell me how much money at the end of the day I'm going to make off of the sale of my property, right? Because real estate should be a great investment for you. And number 3, Show me the whole 360-degree view, Emily. Let me understand what the trend of the market is, where we're coming from and where we're going, so that I feel confident in the decision and the timing that I make on behalf of me and my family in deciding about the sale of my property. So you see, here at the Price Group, we believe that our job is to equip you with all of the best, most accurate knowledge, and in a way that's easy to understand, so you can leverage our 2 decades worth of experience in your favor. And we're here to answer any questions, help it all make sense, make sure that we understand what your needs and goals and the context of your world looks like, and position that within the context of today's current market. And then together, that brings us to the next part of the conversation that we'll have. We can formulate the strategy, the game plan, the path forward that serves you. You see, here at the Price Group, we don't have a cookie cutter approach. It's not a checklist where one size fits all and there's one way we sell a property and that's it. There are so many different paths and so many different solutions that we can take that at the end of the day, all we're solving for is to find you the right buyer. It's not a one size fits all, and it's not all or nothing. So when we again couple what you need and what you desire and the concerns that you have, and we couple that with how the market environment currently is behaving, we put that together, we can help craft a strategy that is custom to you and serves you and protects you. And then from there, of course, we'll answer any questions that you might have, because here at Price Group, we are big champions on the concept that clarity is power. So, in a nutshell, if you're thinking about possibly making a move, whether you know you have to or you're just considering it, whether you're thinking about going on the market next week or 6 months from now, a great next step for you would be for us to sit down together so we can discuss those 4 points. Number 1, making sure that we understand everything that's important to you inside and out. Number 2, making sure you have extreme clarity on just exactly what you get, how you benefit, how you win when you hire the Price Group. In other words, what we do to get the job done. And we've got an almost 20-year track record of getting that done over and over and over again with great success and 5-star raving reviews from our clients. Number 3, we're going to come prepared with the data, with the facts. We're going to give you extreme clarity so that you have confidence. You're going to understand what your home is worth in today's market. You're going to understand the timing and pacing of today's market. You're going to understand what your net profit would likely be in today's market. And you're going to understand how the market is trending, where we've been and where we're going, so you understand how that would impact your situation and your timing. And then lastly, together, we're going to craft a strategy, put together a game plan, make a plan of attack that serves you in accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. And we're here to counsel and support and guide you, ultimately take great care of you every step along the way. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams, and let's get together and have that conversation today. We're happy to meet with you in person. We can meet at our office, come to you, meet at a coffee shop. We're happy to have this conversation over the phone via conference call if that's easiest for you. Or perhaps if what is simplest to you is getting together via Zoom, we're good to do that as well. So we're here to serve you, take care of you, and help you get from, I think I might want to sell, to, yes, here's my plan, let's see it through and help me win at the closing table.